Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You know, one of my favorite things to do is to go bargain shopping. This channel started out as a way of showing people how to prepare for disasters without having to have the budget that you see on those TV shows. You know, the guy that invested $500,000 in his preps last year, and you always wonder where these people get their money from. Well, my concept was to show people how to do things within a reasonable budget while still taking care of your family in every way possible. So I got used to bargain shopping whenever I could. And one of my favorite places to visit is the clearance section at my local Kroger store. I've got one within walking distance of the house. Every time I go in there, I have to stop by that section. Well, the other day I was there and they had the most amazing selection of stuff. I guess it's just become instinct with me by now that when I start picking through things, I start thinking, can I build an MRE here? I started thinking, can I build an MRE out of this clearance section? I mean, look at this stuff. This clearance section was packed. I started pulling things out of there and very quickly realized I can absolutely build an MRE out of this stuff. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Menu KC1 from the Kroger clearance section. Every single item in this kit came out of that clearance shelf. I didn't have to stick anything in there to make up for something that was missing. I found every single item, and I'll tell you a little bit about each one as we go. Now, if you're curious about the rules on how I make my MREs, they're down in the description box below. Go check those out. Also, any items that you see me using in the video, there'll be an affiliate link down there as well, so you can go look at it and see exactly what it is I'm using. So let's get into this bag and let's see what all I dug out of the clearance section. Now, interestingly enough, this first item for our entree is something that I've had several people tell me recently that I need to go find. And I hadn't found these in my local store until very, very recently. But what I picked up was this Ben's Original Street Food Bean and Rice Burrito Bowl. Now, this, of course, is a vegetarian option. There's no meat in this, and that's perfectly acceptable to most of us. Some people need to get over themselves, but this will be perfectly fine for our needs. Now, to go with this as a side, I couldn't believe that I found this in the same place that I found that, but I found a pack of these 90-second cilantro lime pinto beans. That's going to be a lot of beans in this, people. We're going to reenact the campfire scene from Blazing Saddles, but I think these are going to be a perfect companion to that. Now, before we go any further, I need to get this stuff in the trucker's lunchbox so it can be heating up, and then we're going to see what else is in this bag. I honestly didn't think that was going to fit. All right, now that we've got our entree and our side heating up, let's dig back in and see what else we've got. Our next item is our walking around snack, and for that, I found a bag of these Simple Truth Organic pizza flavored mini rice cakes. Simple Truth Organic is the store brand for organic stuff at Kroger. And when I saw this bag, this was one of the first things that really jumped out at me. And I said, that would be perfect for our walking around snack. So we're gonna try those out and see how they are. Next up is our dessert. For that, I found one of these Nutella to go with breadsticks. These things are so cool. It's a little portion of breadsticks and a little portion of Nutella on the other side, and you just dip the breadsticks in the Nutella and you enjoy your nice little sweet snack. This is another one of those things that I've seen in the store several times, but I've never been able to find it with a proper expiration date for using in my MREs. All of the contents that I've got here have valid expiration dates for my rules. So it's kind of funny that I found this with a good expiration date on it when in the regular shelf section, I've never been able to find them like that. All right, next up is our beverage. The beverage was the thing that I really had a hard time with. I found a pack of electrolyte drink mix, and I originally picked that up. It was one of those professional grade things that even on clearance, the box was still $11. And I just could not see paying that much money for something I'm probably gonna drink one of and then give the rest of them away. So instead, I managed to dig further back in the shelf and found this York Candy Shop Cocoa. So this is York Peppermint Patty flavored hot chocolate. Be something nice and decadent to go along with our meal. Now, in the past, we've discussed having bonus items in our MRE, whether it be to bump up the protein, the calories, what have you, or just to have a little bit of extra morale. Well, while digging through a basket at the bottom of the rack, I found this Fulfill protein bar. This one is chocolate and salted caramel. I've never been a huge fan of protein bars. I have found a few along the way that I don't mind so much, But I'm also trying different things constantly to see if I can find things that work a little better for me. So I'm looking forward to trying this and seeing if this Fulfill brand is any better than some of the other stuff out there. All right, so that is everything that's in our homemade MRE from the Kroger clearance section. Everything in here was still well within its Best By date. I don't know why this stuff was in the clearance section. I guess maybe they're just items that are being discontinued, or maybe they're seasonal things that are being phased out to bring something in for the winter. The way I look at it, that's to our advantage because this food is still perfectly good, or at least I hope it is. So let's get in here and see if it tastes good. Before we get started with that, I'm gonna mix up my drink because as always, I wanna make sure I've got something to wash it down with if something in here is funky. And of course, for our beverage, we need the official Dad Budget Adventures Bling mug. So let's get this thing open. Now, if you're new around here, this is the one thing that you're not gonna find on Amazon. There is not a link to get one of these. This was handmade for me by a friend. Ooh, that smells good. I'm not a gigantic fan of mint and chocolate, but this smells amazing. It smells very much like the York peppermint patties. All right, let's get that in there. Stir this up with our bamboo spork. By the way, these bamboo sporks that I use in all these videos, these things are one of my favorite finds since I've been doing this channel. And I've had a few people that have jumped on and bought them and have talked about how much they like them. I haven't addressed this in a while, but the great thing about these is that they are 100% biodegradable. You can also just throw them in the fire if you're at camp and you need to get rid of it. But the other good thing about them is that they don't have the mouthfeel of your typical wooden cutlery. This is not like those spoons that came with the little ice cream tubs you used to get when you were a kid that feel like sandpaper on your tongue. These have a really good surface to them that makes it pleasant to eat with them as opposed to being some kind of medieval torture. Let's set this aside, let it sit for a minute, and let's get into some of this other stuff. Starting with our pizza. I can't read what's under the label. There's pizza something flavored mini rice cakes. We're just gonna hope that whatever that other word was wasn't something unpleasant. Ooh, those smell good. They smell a lot like combos, pizza combos. All right, let's give that a try. See if these are any good. Those aren't bad at all. They've got some flavor, they've got some crunch. I know some people absolutely hate rice cakes, and it's more about the image, I think, than the snack itself. People came out with rice cakes and presented them as like the best thing to happen since sliced bread when it came to people trying to lose weight. And then rice cakes became that annoying thing that everybody started talking about, telling you how many rice cakes they were eating. These make for a really good snack. They're also very filling, so that's a good thing to have around if you're trying to shed a few pounds. Ask me about the rice cake diet. Yeah, that's one of those things that I feel like that bag will go away very quickly if I'm just sitting around munching on those. All right, let's give our York Peppermint Patty Hot Chocolate a try, see how this is. It is very minty smelling. It's a little more subdued now that it's mixed with water, but it still smells lovely. All right, let's give that a try. That's pretty good. That is tasty. Coming from somebody that's really not just a giant fan of mint and chocolate, I would drink that again. That's really good stuff. All right, let's move on and try our Fulfill protein bar, our chocolate salted caramel bar. The bar has 15 grams of protein in it, so that's gonna be a nice little boost. So let's get this open and give it a try. See if I need to go back to Kroger and get down in that bottom rack and get some more of these out. That's not what I expected. Usually when I open something like this, it's got chocolate flakes or chocolate chips or something in it. I did not expect it to be chocolate coated like that. It looks like a chocolate coated rice treat, like a Rice Krispie or something. It's an unusual smell because the chocolate I'm picking up on, but I'm also really picking up on that protein smell. So I'm hoping this doesn't taste god-awful. Let's give it a try. It's not terrible. It is very proteiny. All the flavors and stuff that they put in there to kind of cover for that are very strong in this, like they typically are with protein bars. But this also doesn't have that kind of tree barky kind of texture to it that you get with a lot of protein bars. I think I'd eat one of those again. Let's wash that down. That's a surprisingly good way to wash down that protein bar. I am going to get a couple more of these though because I need to get the sweetness out of my mouth. All right, so that leads us back to our entree and our side. So let's get those out, see how they turned out. I can't get this thing open, so I'm going to have to cut it open. Boy, they made that hard to get into. My goodness. Ow. Something to put under that. It's a lot. All right. This smells pretty good. The rice is a little clumpy. Let's break this up a bit. I can see red peppers and beans and corn. Very southwestern looking mix. It's definitely got that smell to it. So let's get us a bite and see how this is. I've seen mixed reviews on these Uncle Ben's meals, so I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to go. So, all right, down the hatch. That's surprisingly got a little bit of heat to it. I didn't expect that. The flavor, however, is very bland. It's got heat, it just doesn't have flavor. That's a little weird because usually these things are so heavily salted that the flavor just kicks you in the face. But let's try another one. It's okay. As a meal, I don't love it. As a base, if I were to put something like some of those pouches of shredded barbecue meat or something like that, or maybe some of the pouch taco meat on there, I think that would probably work. But just on its own, it is so just plain. I mean, it really just doesn't have any character to it. So it needs some chicken or something on top of it to really round it out. Let's see if we can add a little bit of flavor to it with this. Let's get it way out here. All right, let's see if that helps any. I mean, I know it's gonna make it a little spicier. Maybe it'll lend just the right amount of flavor to it. That helped a lot. That flavor of the sriracha really just gave this that balance that it needed. It still feels like it needs something. This definitely needs a meat accompaniment to it. But if you're a vegetarian, it's fine as it is. I just feel like it needs something a little more. Let's get into these 90-second cilantro lime pinto beans. This is another Kroger store brand. This is not only vegetarian, this is a vegan option. If you're into that. All right, let's tear this open. So these beans are very, very watery. There is a lot of liquid in here. They're very soupy. I mean, it's like a bean soup almost. This is not just beans, this is bean soup. It does smell really good though. Picking up on all those spices. Yeah, that smells good. I hope it tastes as good as it smells, but let's get a mouthful of that. Those are pretty good. They're better than the Uncle Ben's. All right, so let's put this stuff out on a plate and see what we got. All right, there is our Uncle Ben's rice. Give you all a better look at that. And let's get these beans out here. And I already know this is gonna make a mess because these things are so watery. Look at that. That's another cowboy plate right there. My goodness. Of course, we gotta try this stuff mixed together. I mean, the rice has already got beans in it, so you know beans are a perfect addition to it, so let's go with that. Yeah, that works. I would totally just mix all this together. They just need each other. Just beans and rice, just getting along like the rest of us should try a little harder to do. There we go. Let's do another one of these. Just to kick it up the rest of the way. Here we go. Let's go with that. It's amazing to me how a little bit of hot sauce can make something taste like a totally different meal. Just adding just that little bit of different flavor really makes it pop. Let's cleanse the palate with mint chocolate. Got one last thing to try, our Nutella with breadsticks. This is as good a time as any to remind you that if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to be made aware of all upcoming videos. And just like I'm feeding y'all a bunch of BS in this video, feed the algorithm. Leave a comment below. Tell me what your favorite thing in here was. Tell me your favorite place to shop at the clearance aisle. Tell me something. Just tell me, hey, sup, whatever it takes. Comments feed the algorithm and they keep this channel moving along. Okay, let's give one of these things a try. So are you guys fans of Nutella? You like this stuff? This is another one of those things that a lot of people really love it. A lot of people can't stand it, but I like it. Here we go. Yeah, that'll work. One of the things I find interesting is a lot of times with stuff like this, you find that the accompanying breadstick or whatever they give you is not strong enough to handle the stuff that it's dipping in. That's not the case here. I think they made these deliberately strong enough to get in here because that Nutella is pretty stiff. All right, everybody, that is it for our homemade MRE from the Kroger clearance section. This has been one of the most unexpected and fun little projects that I've done in a while. When I went to Kroger, I had absolutely no idea I was going to be walking out with an MRE, not just from Kroger, but from the clearance section. Did not expect that, but I'm so glad it came together. But this just goes to show you that even with a budget, you can build a really cool homemade MRE. You know, one of my favorite comments that I've been getting lately is people that tell me that they now have started going out on family outings, taking their kids, taking their friends, whatever, to build homemade MREs according to my rules. People tell me they've gotten inspired by the things that I'm showing them. Over-the-road truckers are telling me, I never realized all this stuff was out there until I started watching your channel. Now I've got great ideas for things I can take on the road with me. Y'all, that hits me right here. The people that keep this country going are finding something on my channel that they can use. That blows me away. So hope you all enjoyed this one. And until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you around.